We also had growth in the Cedar Rapids area, Iowa City area, so it's broader than just
When you were talking about the growth in the Des Moines area, we've seen on the television, the newspaper, Wells Fargo, 1,500 jobs here, the financial services, industry continues to grow. Is that what you attribute a lot of the growth to, or is it just a variety of factors?
It's in a number of sectors. I mean, that's been the portion of our economy that's been leading the growth in Des Moines areas, that financial services. But we've seen, growth in the healthcare industry. We've got some major medical centers here that are, adding more specialists and more people to take care of our growing population here. The retail base and support services has grown as the population's grown. So we've seen some good growth. Our manufacturing sector is kind of holding its own. It's not a major part of our economy here. It represents about 6% of our workforce. I think in the state of Iowa, manufacturing is about 10% of the, maybe is it 10 or 15%. It's pretty big, maybe 15%. So, but the financial services sector represents about 16% of the workforce employment base here in Des Moines. So it's a big component.
Jim kind of touched briefly on the subprime problem that we've got in the country. In December, I stood right here with Senator Dodd when he was running for president, and he's chairman of the banking committee. And he had made a comment that Iowa ranked 9th in foreclosures in the nation. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I could respond to that, Chris. I'm aware of that statistic, and that statistic is somewhat misleading, in large part because of the foreclosure law in Iowa. He's talking about a ratio of home foreclosures in process, and Iowa ranks 9th of the 50 states by that measurement. But Iowa's foreclosure law is very long and cumbersome, and a property that is in foreclosure is in the foreclosure process for a long time, typically well over a year, compared to other states. For example, Missouri, a property can go through foreclosure in 30 to 45 days. So that statistic of measuring the number of properties in the foreclosure process was very high. Actually, measuring Iowa's foreclosure rate in terms of foreclosure starts over the past 12 months, we rank 39th of the 50 states. Our foreclosure rate is just over 2%, I think 2.09%, which is almost identical to the national average. So I don't think we're that far out of line. We've got some problems, we've got some issues, but it's not that unusual in our state.
In the banking, as the Iowa bankers' perspective, are they experiencing the same problems that we see nationally that are making the headlines every night at 6?
No, community banks have well, in fact, our association recently did a survey, member banks of the Iowa Bankers Association, and the response to that survey showed that more than 90% of our member banks do not participate at all in originating B and C credit mortgages. The few that did, more than half of them have fairly favorable results. When you take this whole mortgage foreclosure crisis that we read every day about, and you step back and try to define the problem, 85% of all homes in the United States are either debt-free or under a 30-year fixed-rate conforming mortgage and performing very well. And because they perform so well, conforming home mortgages are very affordable. This week, a home buyer with good credit can get a 30-year fixed-rate home mortgage for less than 6%. So interest rates are very affordable, and the mortgage market is very high quality. But of the remaining 15% that are not in those categories, approximately half of those, half of the 15% are what's defined as B and C credit, which are higher than standard loan-to-value ratios, or higher than standard debt service income ratios, and those types of things. And got financed, typically, more likely we're financing home acquisitions in what I've talked about earlier, the rapidly increasing market price environments such as Southwest Florida, Arizona, California, and so on. And they were financed in many cases to speculators and investors. We thought the prices were going to continue to go up, and so they convinced somebody to give them a mortgage to buy a property to hopefully cash in on more inflated value later on. That's what has very suddenly turned. Fortunately, because we're in a more stable home price market and typically are financed by more traditional and conventional home mortgage lenders, we're not seeing those severe problems that we're reading about in the paper every day. Very fortunate.
Actually, if I can say something positive about the housing market, one of the biggest selling points we have to attract and retain the workforce into people into Iowa, into people in the Des Moines area, is affordable housing. Housing prices, as was said earlier, in Iowa, we did not have that huge run-up. And so we're not experiencing right now the huge downfall. At median prices of existing homes, even median prices of new homes are very affordable compared to larger metro areas and certainly in the coast. And a person who wants to change their life or to have a slower pace with a good quality of life can afford a very nice home or condominium in Iowa that they wouldn't be able to afford in Chicago or Seattle or Austin or the Boston area.
We've seen the Fed continue to lower interest rates. What impact will that have on the local or the Iowa's lending institutions?
You know me again, Chris. I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with the Des Moines Register, and I told them one of our biggest challenges in banking today is the volatility of markets, in particular the volatility of interest rates. Personally, in running my bank, I watch the 5-year Treasury Index very closely, pretty much every day. And this morning, the 5-year U.S. Treasury Index is at an all-time historical low point, or very close to an all-time record low point of 2.51%. That is what is allowing someone to get a home mortgage at less than 6% today. You get 5.75% fixed rate mortgage loan to buy a home, and that's a good thing. You can get a low interest rate loan to buy a new car, that's a good thing. But as I told the reporter, community bank, for everybody that's happy about interest rates being low, we have just as many people unhappy about interest rates being low because they're living on their interest checks on their CDs. And so that's going to have some negative impact on part of our population.
Starting on, I believe, May 2nd, from what I've read, the economic stimulus checks will be deposited into our bank accounts, or we'll get a check in the mail. Personally, I'm kind of excited. There's a set of Callaways that I kind of enjoy that I haven't been able to buy. So, will this money, in your opinions, will this money go for what's intended, such as what I just said? I'm just going to go buy myself my set of Callaways.
That's one of the concerns we have in Department of Management, because Moody's is indicating that if the price of oil gets around $4, that will eat up much of that benefit of receiving that stimulus check, which is another reason why Governor Culver basically decided, recommended the legislature not to tax it, so that's free of state tax money. Hopefully, price of oil doesn't hit that, and it will be used for investment or savings rather than going out, not used as it should be to generate economic activity in the state.
You don't really want those Callaways that bad. Take the family out for dinner, and take them bicycle, take a bunch of people to the Drake relays, and then fill the meat locker. Fill the freezer at home with meat. It'll be a lot more enjoyable. Last you a lot longer.
And alleviate the frustration, right?
It'll help the Iowa economy more.
I guess the good thing about the whole fiscal stimulus package is the timing. I mean, that was the big concern, is the timing might be too late, but, coming in May, hopefully it will give the national economy a shot in the arm and encourage consumers to spend, if it's on gas or clothes or even save, if that's their choice. But with the economy, the big concerns about the economy, it's probably the right thing to do.
Dick kind of touched on the gas prices, and they continue to go up and then kind of go down in a nickel. It seems like when it goes up a dime. When it goes down a nickel. So when it's all said and done, it still continues to go up. And there has been some speculation it's going to be $3.50, if not $4 a gallon by the end of the summer. I know a guy that commutes to Des Moines to work. He drives the pickup. his commuting is $240 a month, just that he's spending on gas. Will the gas prices have will they turn, go back down to where we're comfortable with them? B, if they don't, will that have an effect on the economy?
That's one of those national trends that, we're concerned about. We're cautiously optimistic about the economy.